Do you know someone who you just don't understand what's going on in their mind sometimes? Or maybe there's someone that's close to you who you've been struggling to connect with recently. Today, we're going to debunk those people who we just cannot understand. We're going to discuss what's really going on inside the average person's brain, so that maybe we can lead with a little bit more compassion and a little less judgment towards those we cannot understand. Hi, I'm Tash from The Loving Lifestyle, a channel dedicated to helping you live your best life. Do you have unrealistic expectations of people in your life? The reality is, most people operate through selfish altruism. This means that if they do good, they receive good. There are obviously a few exceptions to this concept, such as humanitarianism, but even then, many do receive rewards for their work. So it still has self-focused incentives. But your average Joe operates in this way, which means that people's motives are to help others if it means helping themselves. For example, helping someone in order to gain status, or implied reciprocity. Reciprocity? In relationships. I don't know how you say that. Which is, if I do this for you, you'll likely do something for me in the future. Or the evolutionary feeling of protection towards family members. In order to understand other people, we need to lower our expectation that people will offer themselves outside of selfish altruism. Stay, lay down, stay. Lay down, lay down. I've got my dog with me today. Here's a touch of reality for you. People mostly think about themselves. They are thinking about their hopes, their dreams, their shopping list, their outfit choice, the text they just sent. They are thinking about what their boss will say in their next performance review, whether their partner's parents like them, whether they could pull off that dress that girl on the train's wearing. A very, very small percentage of human thoughts are based on what another person is thinking or doing. Instead, it's usually how what you are thinking or doing affects them. So for example, by being body confident, are you forcing someone else to address their own insecurities? Or by going for that career change, is it making someone else question their own career choices? We can understand other people better when we realize it's not about us. If we can't understand someone else's actions or behaviors, lay down, please lay down. I'm trying to film. Lay down. No, don't stand on my laptop. No eye contact. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, if we can't understand someone else's behaviors or actions that may affect us, it's because they're not thinking about us. They are only considering the consequences of their actions that affect them. When you realize that actually no one else is thinking about you, it can be a little bit disheartening, but it can also be unbelievably empowering. All those things that you've stopped yourself doing for fear of others judging you aren't worth worrying about. Most people are too busy battling their own lives to care about what you're doing with yours, and those who are expressing any negativity towards your choices are only really considering how it's affecting them. If you start your own business and it thrives, your friend in a dead-end office job who was too scared to reach for their goals will be hella jealous. So of course they don't want you to do it. It affects their view of themselves. If maybe you start making YouTube videos about a topic that you're passionate about, your self-confidence makes other people look at how they project themselves into the world and whether they are living authentically. So of course they're gonna have questions or maybe give you a sly backhanded compliment. You are forcing people to rethink what they're doing with their lives. When people are mean or hurtful towards you, it's usually just a projection of their own insecurities, and it often has very little to do with you. The reality is, people who are happy and content on their own path will never judge others for the path that they choose to take, because they're too absorbed in their own happiness and self-worth. Only those who are unhappy, questioning their choices and lacking in self-esteem will spend their time judging other people's decisions. If you can't understand the way that someone else is acting towards you, try to remember that it doesn't actually have very much to do with you at all. They're thinking about themselves. So leading on from this, because people are usually thinking about themselves, they are forgetful. Try not to be offended if somebody forgets a lunch or a birthday or to text you after an interview. We all try to keep in touch with the people we care about. Uh-oh, dog coming in. Hello. Hello. I just keep talking with her like this. Urgh, you're so annoying. Okay, as I was saying, we all try to keep up with the people who we care about. But unfortunately, we are forgetful by nature, and we fall short of expectations often. Let it go, and don't assume that someone doesn't like you just because they've forgotten something that you deem important. Having high expectations of others is a surefire way to ruin a friendship. Of course, you should expect your friends to be kind, honest, well-rounded individuals, but you can't expect them to keep up with everything in your life. They have their own busy lives to attend to. If you are the kind of person who dedicates a huge amount of their time to other people, perhaps you're a little bit of a people pleaser, you may want to look at whether there's something that's lacking with your self-image, and perhaps that's why you try to absorb yourself into someone else's life. Being a people pleaser is not a strength, and being self-absorbed is not a bad thing. It actually makes perfect sense. You are the most important thing in your life. You have to look after you first. If you are someone who struggles with people pleasing, I recommend you check out this video up here on setting boundaries. Something else to remember is that emotions are invisible. As we know, most people say they're fine even when they're really not. So if we flip this around, we'll realize that no one can read your mind. So don't expect people to reach out or address you if you've never told them that that's what you need. If you do want to understand people further, you need to be willing to be the one who puts in the most effort to begin with in order to build trust. The reality is, no relationship starts off equal. There is always one person who makes the first move, tries harder to maintain contact, spends more time making an effort. And this should balance out over time, but you can't expect reciprocation in the first few conversations or meetings, because the reality is we are all preoccupied with what's going on in our lives and our minds that sometimes we don't automatically realize that somebody is extending an olive branch or committed to showing an interest in our life because we're too absorbed in what's going on in our minds at that time. We all disproportionately think, oh, she's back, that we are putting more time and effort into the relationship because we spend more time thinking about what we're doing than what the other person's done. So if you feel like you're the only one putting in any effort, there is a high chance that the other person feels exactly the same way. Try to remember that it's just our self-absorbed minds playing tricks on us. So leading on from this, assume that everybody has shit going on. Absolutely everyone is shielding something or hiding an emotion towards an event. Oh, it's not so bad. As someone who literally seeks out the positive impact of everything in her life, I can tell you that I will literally preach the benefits of something I'm going through in order to keep myself from breaking down about it. But sometimes I do feel let down if people I know that I'm having a shit time but don't reach out. Well, what should I expect? I turn everything into a positive. So of course nobody knows how I'm actually feeling. Plus, everyone else has shit going on too. Even if you may not deem it as bad as what you're going through, it's all relative. Try to be sensitive to underlying events. You don't have to call people out, but try to practice empathy. It's like they say, it's always fine until it's not. Work on being your own source of support, and work on reaching out repeatedly to others when you have the mental capacity to do so, even those who say they're fine. So a few little actionable tips to help you try to understand people better. Firstly, listen to what they're saying to you explicitly and implicitly. Secondly, ask questions. As we've already discussed, people love to talk about themselves. Ask questions that allow people to open up and share themselves with you. Thirdly, remember people's names. As we've discussed, people are forgetful by nature. So by making the effort to remember someone's name and use it when talking to them, you are already standing out to them as a more receptive person, and they will feel more understood by you. Using someone's name when talking to them can also make that person feel that your connection is stronger, so they are more likely to enjoy your company and open up to you. 4. In order to maintain friendships, you have to reach out. Now that you know how self-absorbed the human race is, you know that your friend is more likely thinking, you haven't reached out to me. Do you not like me? Did I say something wrong? Or they are preoccupied with their own internal conflict rather than thinking, I don't like that person, I'm not going to message them. To understand people is not to know exactly what they're thinking or what their actions mean or even being in agreement with them. It's about accepting people for who they are and not holding behaviour you don't agree with against them. Now that you know better how to understand those who cannot be understood, you can try to foster a little more compassion and empathy towards others. These are learned behaviours, so by showing a little more compassion and empathy, you may encourage others to do the same. Change is made by small steps. So every time you lead with compassion, you are taking a step towards creating a kinder, more empathetic society. As you learn more about yourself, if appropriate, help guide others to learn more about themselves too. Perhaps mention a book you suggest they try, or when a colleague is gossiping about another colleague's weight or boyfriend, instead of nodding and changing the subject, casually bring up that you once had similar feelings to someone you knew, but you realize that you were just projecting your own insecurities on them, and that now you like to correct your negative thought patterns when these judgments come up. You'd be surprised by the effect you can have on others. This is the neediest dog in the world. Words hurt, but words also heal. Being open, but not preachy, about your own self-development journey will inspire others to assess their own behaviours. If you still find someone hard to understand, remember that every single person is a product of their own unique experiences. Interactions, relationships, education, culture, and surroundings. There are experiences in people's lives that have led them to be the person they are today, both positive and negative. That person who's talking over you may be the youngest in a family of 5, or they may have been exposed to traumas that silenced them in their former years. Being misunderstood is often a product of exactly that, misunderstanding. Approach every conversation and interaction with compassion and openness, and you'll be able to understand people a lot better. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and maybe you now know that people aren't quite so complex as you once thought, and putting yourself in someone else's shoes is a lot easier when you realize they are just like you. They're thinking about themselves most of the time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell below so you never miss my content. I will see you next week or over on my Instagram at The Loving Lifestyle Blog. I feel like I need to show you my dog now because she's been bugging me this whole time, so I'm gonna get her on the camera. One sec. Say hello. This is my big bear. Isn't she just the cutest dog ever? She's a good pup. Actually, she's a really annoying pup because she keeps hitting my laptop, but she's cute, so you're forgiven, hey? You're forgiven, aren't you? Good girl. Say bye to everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, the paw.